Hey everybody, it's Austin and Jack here with another episode of Coffee and Commoners. Jack, what are we drinking today?
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are drinking the coffee blend known as Inspiration. This comes to us from foundfamiliar.com. It is a medium roast from Minas Gerais, Brazil. I may have butchered that name, please forgive me. This has flavor notes of dates, toasted pecans, and dark chocolate brownies.
Chocolate brown? Wow, you didn't mention that.
I know. Well, you know, it's a special one. It is meant to be inspirational. I have tasted this before. Okay. I don't know if you have. I quite enjoyed this, but I'm very keen to know what you think. So,
okay, we'll test it. Also, by the way, we're not sponsored by any of these coffees. This is just a random selection from our pantries.
Yes.
Just a disclaimer.
Please enjoy our notes.
Yes.
I'm eager to know what you think. Go ahead, take a sip, sir. Slurpity derp. And let me know what you think once you've slurped that down.
Ooh. That's bold, in my opinion. Definitely can taste the hints of chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
What else did you say was in there?
Dates and toasted pecans are what the notes say, the flavor notes.
I can taste the nuttiness.
I got the dates myself.
Yeah, I can taste...
Dates and chocolate.
Nuts in like, any sort of, like, coffee grounds or things like... Or I can usually just taste when nuts are in things. Mm-hmm. It's, like, the most prominent thing whenever I eat or drink something.
He's good at picking out the nuts, ladies and gentlemen.
PG-13, guys. Remember, PG-13.
Children beware.
Yeah.
But you like it? You don't like it?
I like it.
Okay.
Definitely...
Better than your Folgers?
A little, yeah, better than my Folgers. This is going to be the running gag now.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna be like, is this better than your regular Folgers Morning Joe cup of coffee? It's like, yeah, it is. Most of the time it is. Well, am I going to drink this every morning? No, because all I need in the morning is go-go juice. That's it.
Well, that's fair.
All I need is the bean water to get me going.
Hot bean juice.
Hot
delicious.
Yeah, don't let Uncle Iroh hear you say that, especially about tea.
This is just hot leaf juice.
I feel like Uncle Iroh from Avatar would be the same way about coffee the way he is about tea if he drank coffee. If coffee was a thing in Avatar.
You know, probably. Yeah. I would agree with that statement. Yeah. Just based off of his personality.
Yeah.
You know?
Total connoisseur of those sort of things.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's all about...
Man of varied tastes.
Yeah. But you like it? It's good?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Let's get into what we're doing today.
Okay.
This is our second episode. We realized we rambled a lot in the first one. We were getting a feel for it. We were getting used to our format. Because planning can only take you so far. And we planned a bunch of these beforehand. But, you know, in practice, you gotta rip off the Band-Aid, do the thing in order to feel how it should really go.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta jump straight into the deep end. I mean, obviously don't teach somebody how to swim that way, because that's a little terrifying.
Yeah,
no. The shallow pool, sure. 3 feet, cool. But
well, there's people that have died from diving in the shallow end.
Well, I mean, if you're diving, yes. If you're just doing it like cannonballing, I feel like you should be fine.
Avoid bodies of water.
I have a terrible fear of deep water in the ocean. This is now my therapy session, and now it's not, because we're trying to stay on topic.
Yeah, we're trying to stay on topic. All right. Well, we've gotten through coffee. We're going to try and stay on topic a little more.
It's a very short coffee session, but
yeah.
We'll be sipping throughout.
We're sipping throughout, and, maybe that's what we should do at the end, is we should revisit, whether or not we like the coffee enough to finish it. If, our mugs are empty. Yeah. Oh, we'll see at the end of this episode, if we remember.
Fair.
All right. Jack, what monster are we talking about today? What's the monster of the day?
The monster of today, ladies and gentlemen, is taking us into the hells as we delve in to the Pit Fiend.
Yep.
Located on page 77 of the Monster Manual, the Pit Fiend is a challenge rating 20. Now, we have talked a little bit before about views of the challenge rating system and how it is, as a rough guide, generally is okay. Nothing to go, full hat in hand, devote this is, the holy word.
Yeah.
They're more guidelines than actual rules, as it were.
A party of 5 level 10 adventurers could kill a Pit Fiend.
Potentially.
Yeah.
If they're really good and real lucky.
Yeah.
But I mean, this do be a thick boy.
It is thick.
He is thick.
Like, if you look at the art in the monster manual, he's thick as fuck.
He is very thick. I'm a little jealous of those arms, but that's besides the point. Taking a look at the stat block here, the Pit Fiend is a large fiend of the devil subtype. It is lawful evil.
Okay.
And the Pit Fiend here has an armor class of 19, so pretty good. Mm-hmm. It's got 300 hit points with 24 D10 hit die plus 168. This boy thick, ladies and gentlemen. He thick.
300, count them, 300 hit points.
Yes, with a speed of 30 and a fly speed of 60. That is one chunky monkey.
Things that always have a fly speed should always be flying. That's just my opinion.
I mean, it depends on the party if you want to be really cruel to them or not. You know, sometimes it's nice to have them land, give the party a fighting chance. But I prefer, personally, I mean, you may feel the same way. If the party can figure out a way to get them onto the ground level, I feel like that's the better way to go about it myself.
Yep.
Make them think a little. Of course, not every party is going to be blessed with such brains, such intellect, but make do with what you got and adjust to the situation.
Yep. All right. What else about the Pit Fiend, Jack? What can you tell me?
So, in terms of its stats, again, he's a chunky monkey. A strength of 26 for a plus 8 modifier. That is quite nice. It has a dexterity of 14, a constitution of 24 for a plus 7 modifier, an intelligence of 22 for a plus 6.
It's that deep forbidden knowledge.
Indeed it is.
Yeah.
A wisdom of 18 and a charisma of 24. Mm-hmm. So pretty nice stats.
Yeah. I mean, that big discrepancy between strength and dex is just, you know, it's proof of how thick he is.
It's a heavy hitter. It's not the nimble in and out kind of warrior.
He does, you know, unfortunately he skips leg day, which is why he doesn't have high dex.
I mean, them be some thick legs though. I mean, he's got wings, so like, do you really need to work on leg day if you're flying around all over the place?
Oh yeah. You think Pit Fiends work out their wings?
I mean, they could, yeah.
Because here's the thing about strong monsters like devils or something like that. Are they just naturally, like, do they just spawn with rippling muscles and like 12-pack abs, or do they have to train? Let us know what you do and how you would do that. How you would think about that.
I mean, these guys are supposed to be, you know, the generals that lead the infernal legions of the Nine Hells into battle.
These guys are like one step down from Archduke. Or something, right?
Yeah. They attend the archdukes and archduchesses of the Nine Hells and carry out their wishes. So I feel like, you know, it kind of comes with the territory. If you don't fit the bill, get the F out, you know? Mm. You know, go work on check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's sort of a vibe from them. Of course, if they just come out, just, you know, jacked and rippling and everything, I feel like I need to become a Pit Fiend. Is there like a ritual for that?
I don't know. You know, this inspiration coffee is giving me inspiration.
There you go.
I think I'm going to roll an extra D20 today.
Well, whenever you do that roll, sir, be thinking.
Or, here's a question. Is the coffee inspiration as in bardic inspiration or inspiration as in...
It does not specify bardic inspiration. The art on the bag, again, we are not sponsored by anybody. This is just what I had in my pantry. The art on the cover of this inspiration is by a gentleman known as Matt Garbutt, I believe, also known as Art Monkey MG on both Instagram and Twitter, and it is a very well done piece of art of a scraggly looking fellow here with a rather nice beard, a broken horn, and a barbed tail. Looks like a purple tiefling of sorts, which I think is quite fitting considering that today is
the fiend,
yes.
Pit Fiend himself. Yeah.
Yes. The art itself, I believe, is called Spoony Bard, as he is using spoons as an instrument. So, I mean, that for Bard, and then it's called Inspiration. Perhaps it is supposed to be Bardic Inspiration.
In a future episode about bards, we'll have to discuss the types of instruments that are appropriate for bards.
Yes.
And some, you know...
Bagpipes. Give them to me.
Bagpipe bard.
For Scotland! That's going to be a running joke now. I got to say that every episode. I got to find a way to work it in.
Okay, Sir William Wallace.
Well, no. Clan Douglas. Have some class.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry if I offended your skittish Scottish heritage.
I mean, I may be a little skittish, but the Scottish are not. The skittish Scottish.
You know what else is skittish? My cats. Because they're running away from the Pit Fiend.
Oh,
What
that's
else
fine.
can we talk about with the Pit Fiend?
With the Pit Fiend, as we drop below its ability scores here and into some of its other features here, it has some special bonuses for its saving throws on its dex, surprisingly. It has a +8.
Gotta make up for that from skipping leg day.
Indeed you do.
Yeah.
On its constitution has a +13, which is pretty solid. That's pretty nice. I like that. And then its wisdom is a +10 to its saving throw.
Because okay, with con saves, there's so few things that require a con save unless it's poison damage. Usually, I
Certain spell effects.
I take that back. Thunder damage spells are usually Constitution saves. Now that I think about it, I only know that because I had a lot of thunder damage spells at one point, and I always thought that was weird. It's like, why is it Constitution save? I guess you can't outrun sound waves.
Yes. It's the vibrations around you. How well can you hold up that fortitude?
Yeah.
Again, I always think, do you guys use the tomato theory?
What the fuck is this?
The tomato metaphor for how to understand ability scores?
I don't...
Like strength is being able to crush a tomato.
Yeah, I've heard this before.
Yeah, constitution, being able to take a bad tomato if you eat one. So, it kind of makes sense if you're, trying to resist the vibrations of thunder as it hits you. Con makes sense for that. You can't dodge it.
Don't test the tomato theory in your everyday life.
Yeah, please don't.
Don't eat a rotten tomato.
Do not. I would not advise. Not that I've done it, but
not endorsed by coffee and commoners.
Yeah,
bad for your health.
Very much so. We are
consult with your doctor before doing the tomato method.
We are not in any way qualified to talk about medicine in any form, but in our humble opinion, please do not eat a rotten tomato.
Yeah.
Please don't.
You know who can eat a rotten tomato, though?
The Pit Fiend?
Yeah, the Pit Fiend.
The Pit Fiend can eat a rotten tomato.
Yeah.
You know what else that's cool about it?
What?
It has some resistances. Now, sadly, none of these are poison, but it does have resistance to cold damage.
What? It doesn't have poison resistance?
It does not have poison resistance.
I thought that was a thing that, most fiends got.
No, it has immunity to poison and fire.
Ooh.
But for resistances, so half damage, cold, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks,
okay, so
not made with silvered weapons.
Bring your silver weapons.
Yes.
Non-magical attacks from non-silvered weapons. So your weapon has to be both silvered and magical to do full damage?
Says it has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks not made with silver. So
you can hit it with a silver weapon whether it's magical or not and still do full damage.
I believe that's how I would interpret it. You either have to have it be a magical weapon or a silvered weapon. Mm-hmm. Presumably a silvered weapon would be easier to find than a magical one. You just melt down some coins, you forge yourself a dagger, Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. Yeah. If you're trying to get it enchanted, that takes a little bit more.
This would fit in a gothic setting where most monsters you would need to have silvered weapons. It's that's a common thing with most monsters apparently from classic gothic horror is
indeed
kill them with silver. Because I don't know, silver has some intrinsically anti-evil property.
I wish I knew more on the subject because I at one point had read about why that was so prevalent and I have since forgotten and cannot recall.
Because it's because most monster lore I feel is kind of rooted in Christendom,
in terms of the lore that inspires 5th edition, a lot of it is Eurocentric.
Yeah. I think that is definitely true. You get some more variety in some of the other expansion books for monsters and all that.
True.
But yeah. Well, I think we'll have to review that later.
I'm going to need to do some homework. Maybe on episode 3 we can talk about that because we will be talking about some of those more classically themed monsters. But that is for episode 3. Right now we're talking about
we gave them the spoiler we gave them it in the middle of the episode instead of at the end.
You see, this is to test who's paying attention or not. See, we won't say anything at the end. But those who are listening, you guys will know. You'll be in the know. And I applaud you for that. So good for you for paying attention.
We're already fucking up the format. Back to the Pit Fiend.
Back to the Pit Fiend. As I said, it has immunities to fire and poison damage. It has a condition immunity as well. The poisoned condition.
This man He's immune to every drug on the planet.
Which is a little sad, because that means that he can't get turned up.
Yeah, he can't get turned. Doesn't have the ability to.
I feel a little sad for him.
It's kind of like how in the first Captain America movie he talks like about like, you know, I have a fast acting metabolism and therefore I can't get drunk, and it's just like, oh, kind of sad.
Oh,
This guy's got the Captain America bod.
he do be thick.
He do be thick.
He do be thick.
Yeah, I think we're not doing anything for the people that think D&D is devil worship by saying a devil is thick.
I mean,
yeah.
That's
So,
their own fault. They're missing out.
Yeah, we got damage immunities, condition immunities.
We do have a couple other things here. It does have a couple special senses. A passive perception of 14. It's fine. Nothing to write home about there. But it does have true sight for 120 feet, which is pretty sweet.
We can probably stealth by him really quick, but invisibility will not give you that stealth advantage, unfortunately, with him.
Yeah, he's going to see right through that.
Yeah.
The good thing is, though, in terms of languages, he only speaks Infernal, but he does have telepathy for 120 feet. So if he can see you within, that 120 feet of true sight, you can hear, demonic grumblings in your head, which would be, I imagine, terrifying. I would not want to wake up and hear that in my head.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want that either.
You're just creeping around hell and you just hear, in the back of your mind. That would be frightening.
Nope, I wouldn't like it.
No, don't like that.
Imagine if that was like your sleep paralysis demon.
I mean, smash. Anyways. I'm just saying, you don't know what's under that loincloth.
Good fucking God, man.
Moving on.
All right.
If we descend a little bit lower down the stat block here, we do get into the Pit Fiend's traits. And he does have a couple of them, so we'll go through them one by one. First one up on the list is his Fear Aura. Any creature hostile to the Pit Fiend that starts its turn within 20 feet of it must make a DC 21 Wisdom saving throw, unless the Pit Fiend is incapacitated. On a failed save, the creature is frightened until the start of its next turn, and if a creature's saving throw is successful, the creature is immune to the Pit Fiend's Fear Aura for the next 24 hours.
I feel like he almost doesn't need his Fear Aura because this guy's terrifying on his own.
Well, I mean, it's really to, weed out those that are terrified from the monster fuckers. But...
Yeah. Well, hold on.
I mean,
Sorry. I almost skipped over that, that heavy hitting line right there.
I mean,
you just dropped.
I mean, they may be stunned for another reason. Like I said, he do be thick. Anyways, DC 21, that's very good, I feel like, especially for a CR 20 creature here.
Yep.
I certainly know that some characters in my current campaign that are level 20 would not beat that.
Nope.
Yeah. I'd have fun.
Yeah.
I have had a great time with a Pit Fiend once, but I do like the fact that if you do pass, you are immune to it. That does beg the question, though. If you have, let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
It says if you are immune to the Pit Fiend's Fear Aura for the next 24 hours, if you have multiple Pit Fiends, if you're being mean, if you are trying to kill your players, and you throw multiple Pit Fiends at them, if they fail one creature's Fear Aura but succeed on the next, does that cancel them out for both? Like, how would you treat that?
The Fear Aura has its own individual fingerprint, depending on the creature, I guess.
So you treat them as two individual auras, or if you succeed on one, then you're good for the other one as well? What do you think?
I think it's depending on the difficulty level of the campaign you're running.
Okay.
Because, you could be boring and do, you succeed on one, you're immune to all if you're facing multiple of these. Mm-hmm. However, I don't see a situation in which you're facing multiple Pit Fiends where your friends aren't going to, your party isn't going to think that you're actively trying to kill them.
I mean, the one time I've used a Pit Fiend so far in the campaign, there was only one of them. I also imagine if you did that, trying to keep track of multiple Fear Auras, what you're immune to, what you're not to, that could get a little tedious and, probably draw some people out of it, I think.
I think at most you face 3 Pit Fiends. Each one could have a different kind of Fear Aura, and then you can focus on like which one.
Keep that in the back of your mind. We'll talk about that more about how you could potentially change up the Pit
All right,
Fiend.
yeah. We gotta finish up with the vanilla stats first.
Below the Fear Aura, the Pit Fiend here does have magic resistance, so it has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
So
Pretty
not
standard,
only will he have advantage against your fireball, he's not going to take any damage from it either.
Well, I mean, it says it has advantage, but...
Yeah, but he's not going to take
the damage immunities.
He's immune to fire.
Well, yes, if you're using fire, that's why you go for something else. You can't do cold, you can't do fire. I mean, you could do cold, but it won't do as much.
Yeah.
Fire and poison are out of the run. You could go for lightning. You know, get a nice chain lightning out there. A lightning bolt. If you're really adventurous, very much into the classics.
Yeah.
You could go for what's another fun dim? I mean, you were just talking about thunder earlier. Another potential there.
Thunderwave. Well, Thunderwave is not a heavy hitter.
Thunderclap.
Maybe like Destructive Wave. I think that does.
Ooh, yes.
I think that does thunder damage.
That
I think
does.
that's the heavy hitter. It's like a 5th level paladin spell.
Yes, it is. That's a fun one.
I think other classes get it, but I don't remember which ones. So
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do know that it circles around a couple of them.
Yeah.
Might be Tempest Cleric.
Okay.
It's a fun subclass.
All right. So
in addition to magic resistance, the Pit Fiend also has magic weapons, so all of its weapon attacks are magical for the purposes of bypassing resistances. Good to keep in mind.
So if your characters have a resistance to non-magical weapons, get fucked.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
It will still touch you with full force.
Get touched.
Well, I mean,
don't get touched.
unless you want to be, but I mean, hey.
And only if it's
each your own.
appropriate touching.
Only if, listen, consent is key. Only if you consent. Okay?
Consent is key. Yeah.
Consent is my kink.
Why am I doing a podcast with you?
Listen, man, you asked me, I said yes, okay?
All right. What else with the Pit Fiend?
Well, in addition to its magic resistance and magic weapons, it does have some innate spell casting, for which it uses charisma as the spell casting ability modifier, and it has an innate spell save DC of 21, same as with its Fear Aura. It can innately cast the following spells, requiring no material components. It can cast Detect Magic and Fireball at will.
At will.
At will. Mm-hmm. So you can just spam Fireball to your heart's content, which I feel like would be a lot of fun, especially if you have party members that like to conjure up a number of creatures, summons and things like that. I'm specifically thinking of druids here.
All right, I guess that's effective.
Yeah. It also has 3 times a day each Hold Monster and Wall of Fire. So again, not just hold person for going up against humanoids, but also if you have other summons or if there are other large creatures that you are trying to keep hold of, you can go ahead and control them with that. And then, of course, Wall of Fire is just so thematic. It really fits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotta give fire spells to the devils and the demons.
I mean, it would be a little disappointing if they didn't have any, I think.
Yeah.
But only 4 spells, not a great majority of diversity there.
It's not a caster.
I know. This man is that he is a frontline brute with some fun things to throw at those in the back. I feel like a little peppering, divide and conquer, throw up a firewall, split the party, take them out in different chunks.
Yep.
Kind of fits into that battlefield commander sense, trying to control the field.
Well, yeah, because these guys they're flavored as like generals or something.
Yes,
like
indeed.
That. So it's
that
like
is correct,
that makes sense that they'd be like tactical, strategic, whatever you want to call it, whatever the verb is for it.
Yeah, I mean, in intelligence at 22, very intelligent, very smart.
Not only is it forbidden knowledge, it's like war knowledge mostly.
Yeah,
because aren't they? I mean, devils have also been in like an endless war for like eons with like the demons from the abyss or something. I don't know. There's something
the
about
lore
that.
slightly better than I do, good sir.
I don't know. I've read a little bit of the lore. Listen, man, lore is fun and all. Make whatever you want.
Make up your own. That's what I do.
Yeah. Again, D&D, is all the books are blueprints. You can change the schematics as you go.
They're more guidelines than actual rules.
That's going to be another running joke, because we're going to just have to bring up that guidelines line from Pirates.
You see, we just need to get like a little soundboard that has, a couple different quotes. We can get Barbosa in there, get a couple others.
Yeah.
But moving further down the Pit Fiend stat block, it has multi-attack, so it can make 4 attacks in a turn, 1 with its bite, 1 with its claw, 1 with its mace, and 1 with its tail. So 4 different attacks.
This man is dangerous from all ends.
Yes, each one slightly different. Shall we go through these one by one? Want to work our way to the most wordy attack? You want to go down the line?
Let's just go down the line. Like I don't know. Maybe just list how many dice you roll on the damage type for some of them.
All right. Well, up first we have Bite. It is a melee weapon attack with a reach of 5 feet, and that focuses on one target. It has a plus 14 to hit.
Okay.
Pretty decent. And it deals on average 22 piercing damage, or 4d6 plus 8.
Yeah.
If your bite hits, the target must succeed a DC 21 Constitution saving throw or become poisoned. And while poisoned in this way, the target cannot regain hit points, and it takes 6d6 poison damage at the start of each of its turns. The poisoned target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. So not only does it do 46 plus 8 on the initial impact, but 6d6 poison if you fail on that saving throw each time you take a turn. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's solid.
That's pretty good.
That's definitely dangerous.
And that's just one attack.
Yeah, that's the receiving end of that is bad.
Oh, yes. Just imagine if it gets hasted by an ally. Throw on an extra bite attack. Just
two
chomp.
bite attacks or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be.
Sadly, the poison doesn't stack, but spread around the love. Get more people poisoned.
This is how AIDS started.
Listen here, buddy. Step too far.
Step too far. All right, I take it back. Okay.
All right, moving on to attack number 2. It is his claw attack. Again, melee weapon attack. This one, however, has a reach of 10 feet. It deals 2d8 plus 8 slashing damage to one target. It's an average of 17.
Okay.
So pretty decent, a little bit more range. It is the same situation with the mace, reach of 10 feet, plus 14 to hit. One target, when hit, will take 2d6 plus 8 bludgeoning damage and 6d6 fire damage. So we got piercing, we've got poison, we've got slashing, we've got bludgeoning, and now we've got fire damage. He is hitting so many different damage types.
Yep. He's got a lot.
He does indeed.
Disposal. Okay. And then what's last? The tail?
Last one up is the tail. Plus 14 to hit. Reach of 10 feet at one target. Deals 3d10 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. And that is all 4 of his attacks. That is quite an arsenal. I must say so.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a pretty solid monster. I haven't used it myself. I would probably use it.
That frightens me. I'm a little afraid now. I am scared.
No, but high level content usually, because this guy's pretty solid. One thing I would probably change about it is maybe, because I think I kind of do this regardless, but whenever there's a multi-attack thing that says this thing makes up to this many attacks and each one is different or something like that, I usually just go with it attacks with whatever it thinks is necessary. So with this guy, it says for the full 4 attacks, you need to go through a full rotation of bite, claw, mace, tail. I don't think that's entirely necessary.
That's fair.
I think you could mix and match. If he wanted to, he could do 3 claw attacks and a tail attack. He could use his mace twice and his claws twice, in the offhand. He could do his bite. The only one that I think is maybe iffy about doing multiple times is the bite attack.
I would agree.
I don't know. Because if you bite something, that's a lot of effort to just lunge.
Yes.
And then, like, if you think about all the attacks are happening, like, almost simultaneously, that's like this man, like, lunging forward with his neck and mouth and then just flailing his arms and tail at whatever else is around him. So that just, in my mind, looks a little ridiculous.
Agreed.
I think, in terms of multi-attack, you should always just be able to pick whichever ones rather than just... Yeah. I don't know. Certain actions seem like it should be in only, like, once per multi-attack thing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I really like the stat block. I have used this once before in a very large devil fight where you were actually in and you managed to scrape out.
I got ragdolled in that fight.
You got thrown around like a sack of potatoes, but you survived.
Was it a Pit Fiend that grabbed me in that
I think it was the Pit Fiend that grabbed you and threw you off the ledge.
My character had a bunch of like teleporty style spells where I could like attack, teleport sort of thing.
Oh goodness, Steel Wind Strike.
That was one of them, but I
Thunderstep?
have Thunderstep.
Thunderstep, yes.
And then I had like the ability to make Thunderstep a bonus action, and that was just sick. But I was like bouncing all over the map, and then like I failed one strength or save or something like that, and my dude was like, haha, and then he got his leg grabbed and was like, oh shit.
And got yeeted.
It was
Loki in the hand of the Hulk.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. It was like totally like an end of Avengers moment where Loki's getting smashed around by Hulk.
Oh.
And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to drag me away into the darkness too in that fight.
Actually, yes, that was going to be the
I was like, help.
Yes, you barely survived. I love this stat block. I do agree with what you're saying about the multi-attack feature. I feel like you don't have to necessarily do each individual one. Like for me, I personally would probably do bite, mace, tail, only using the claw specifically if I'm trying to, go for a grapple.
Maybe like if he gets disarmed.
Or if he gets disarmed, exactly, yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Listen, DMs, allow your characters to disarm their opponents. Don't just have it be a battle master maneuver. Allow them in certain situations to disarm their opponents. It affects the flow of combat so much, and it gives you more options yourself.
It makes things fun, because remember, if they can disarm your creatures, you can disarm them.
I've disarmed people a couple times.
Both
in the battle sense and in the literal sense.
I was about to say, you took someone's hand.
I took multiple people's hands.
I took your leg.
Yeah.
And your arm, actually. I've taken them both.
It got better.
Yeah, you got replacements.
I got replacements, and then they actually came back.
Yeah, you got all your legs.
It was like a lizard. Just grew back my arms and legs.
Oh, lizard man. Oh, goodness.
I played a human bard. That was it. But he made some weird deals, so things got weird.
Listen, man.
Anyway.
You made a deal with the devil. Not a Pit Fiend devil, but a different kind of devil.
Yeah.
A kind of devil that we may talk about another time. Yeah. For now, though.
I would totally run this monster in future sessions. I think it would have to be in the right place. I know these guys are like flavored as generals and all that, and like most of the time when we're thinking about like devil lore, like the archdukes are kind of the only ones that have like individuality or whatever compared to others. But like I think like where we were talking about with like if you were fighting multiple Pit Fiends or something like that, and like the resistance to Furor, I feel like a good way to be like to track that is to give each of them their own kind of personality. Or something like that.
Well, yeah.
Because they're higher up in the order of devils to begin with. So, if they had, like, their own, like, form of a fear aura or something like that.
Yes.
Kind of thinking like the Furies from Greek mythology, which is technically another monster that's in this book. But, like, you could give that to another fiend. Like, give that kind of same flavor to it.
I mean, it's always more fun to have a unique and memorable opponent to fight versus just, well, this is big, scary red monster number 5. We just have to whittle down his hit point number and move on to the next encounter. I mean, you gotta make him, give him some flavor, some personality.
Don't just make it, nameless Balrog number 1 that, you Gandalf over the edge. Using Gandalf as a verb feels weird, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the one, because like this, when you look at this, I think Balrog. From
Not nearly enough fire.
No. needs like a flaming whip or something like that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Fly, you fools!
Yes. Well, I think that's all we got for the Pit Fiend. Anything else you want to discuss about it?
I mean, apart from him being thick, I mean, I'm just saying it at this point just to mess with you.
Yeah.
I like this. I've used it before. I will probably use it again.
I'll do it again, motherfucker.
Yes, I will. I will probably use this again. I do like its fear aura. I'm always a little iffy on the aura effects that allow you to become immune to them, especially if the tide of battle starts to turn into the enemy's favor. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's all the more reason for you to become frightened. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've always sort of struggled to find a good balance with, because it's like if you're starting to lose, and you're taking these attacks, your friends are poisoned, they're whittling down, and there's this hulking large winged devil coming at you with a flaming mace. No, you may have warded it off before, but
you should totally be like the Fellowship and Frodo, fleeing from the Balrog in that situation, and because you're focused on surviving rather than stealing your nerves against it.
Nothing wrong with a good retreat.
Yeah. Retreat from battles that can't be won, players, please.
Don't make us TPK you. But yeah, things like that aura immunity, I always feel like, again, these are guidelines versus actual rules. As a DM, you can change anything, which, of course, for players is scary.
Well, because this thing can do dispel magic, or...
It can detect magic.
It can detect... Okay,
it
never
can
mind.
detect. It cannot dispel.
This thing, I feel like there should be certain monsters or certain things that should turn off, paladin auras sometimes. Because that just feels like a weird intrinsic effect that can never get turned off.
Anti-magic field. Anti-magic field, excuse me.
Yeah, that is one other thing.
You could also sort of... It's the question of if you can do that with an anti-magic field, would a dispel magic temporarily dampen the effect, like a knock spell can temporarily dampen an arcane lock or something like that?
Yeah. Something like that.
Ways to play around with it. There's always a balance you got to find, but I think all in all, Pit Fiend, excellent stat block, excellent flavor. I like him. I've used him before. I'll use him again. Would I change anything? Maybe little slight tack-ons to adjust the flavor if I want to have each Pit Fiend that the party comes up against to have its own personality. But apart from that, I'm very happy with the Pit Fiend. I don't think there's a lot that I would want to change with it. I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty solid.
Very nice.
All right. Well, I think we should move on from this. We have a new section of the show now. We have a little snack break that we're going to do. We obviously we had coffee earlier, but now we have something a treat.
Indeed, we do.
It's fall, so that means everything has to be pumpkin. So we have some pumpkin bread here that Jack made.
Indeed. I got this recipe off of Ye Olde Clock app. For those of you that are not in the know, that means TikTok. It's not just for people dancing. It does have some pretty good recipes that I have gathered up, and this is one that I made some slight adjustments to myself. It is a pumpkin bread made with cake flour, brown sugar, and a variety of spices, as well as a can of pumpkin. So it's quite good.
I'm gonna take a bite now, guys.
Yes, I'm very curious.
I'm not gonna bite it into the mic though. So we don't do that ASMR stuff here.
Do you listen to ASMR?
I almost took a bite out of it. You said that as I was putting the loaf
in
my mouth.
Here. You eat your loaf. And while you're chewing, and while you're absorbing the flavor, I want you to think about if you have listened to ASMR or watched it, because some people do the full-on videos versus just the audio. But
I don't like ASMR. It doesn't tickle my brain.
Is it just you don't like whispering, or do you just not like the genre in general?
It doesn't do the whole stress reduction thing that it does for other people. It doesn't do that for me. it doesn't like heighten my stress. It just doesn't do the thing that people say it does for me.
It doesn't give you the tingles?
No, it doesn't give me the tingles.
Mm.
So I don't usually listen to ASMR. However, I do think it's funny when somebody like goes up to your ear and just, whispers like we're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
Now that is a good meme.
That is a good meme. But
you see, as someone that does on occasion listen to ASMR, when I am trying to go to bed and then there are birds chirping outside, the light has not yet poked through my window, but I can hear the birds, and I'm trying to fall asleep so I can wake up at a somewhat decent hour, in 3 hours. I do occasionally do a listen, and I think it would be absolutely hilarious if there was an ASMR video based around we've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. I feel like that would be hilarious as like a joke one.
Customer service ASMR.
I mean, there are so many ASMR artists out there. It's probably been made. So many videos. But now that you've had a couple bites,
I'd love to have an ASMR video that's strictly just a whispered, frustrating call with like an internet provider, because those are the worst customer service like calls that you have.
You know what? That's second worst. You want to know what the first one is?
Which one?
Cell service, because the call always drops.
Well, damn.
That's even more infuriating.
I got a problem with my cell service, and I need to call to fix the cell service.
Exactly. That's why it's the worst. But now that you've had a couple bites of this pumpkin bread, and you've had some time to sip some coffee, what do you think of the bread?
Well, I like pumpkin snacks. Mm-hmm. I don't like pumpkin drinks. I think you know this about me. I just don't usually like pumpkin drinks.
Okay.
I love pumpkin snacks, though. This is definitely a much denser. It's almost like pumpkin cake than it is pumpkin bread.
This is true.
It is dense, but
I did adjust the initial recipe. It called for normal all-purpose flour and for just plain old white cane sugar. I swapped it out for brown sugar because I thought the flavor would be different, and I also used cake flour, so it's inherently different.
The good thing is that it's moist.
Yeah,
it's not like bone dry, because I've had like banana bread and pumpkin bread that's been like, I need water.
Oh goodness, I feel your pain. I mean, I did make this like a week ago, so it has been sitting in my fridge to keep fresh, and I feel like that has helped retain the moisture.
Yeah.
But I feel like this would be equally good with some like toasted.
Toast. You want to like put it in a toaster oven or something like that.
Yeah, a little toaster oven. Either just some either by itself, so it's nice and warm, perhaps with a little smear of butter.
I know you don't like this, but I like chocolate chips in my pumpkin bread.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we discussed this before, like in our just day-to-day conversation, and I was like, I like chocolate chips in mine, just because it gives it a little extra kick. Flavor.
That's fair. I mean, it depends. I personally if I'm eating pumpkin bread, I want to eat just my pumpkin bread. But I have had pumpkin bread with chocolate chips, and it is pretty good. Especially good if paired with like a chocolatey noted coffee. Mm. At our local coffee house, that is how they serve their pumpkin bread normally with chocolate chips.
Yeah.
Theirs can be a little dry sometimes, depending on what time of the day you go, which is
like if you go at 3:00 when I usually go,
it's a little dry by then, which is why I generally prefer not to get the pumpkin bread unless I am.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, another thing, Fizbin has entered the studio space.
Yes, hello.
The Fizbin the cat. If you didn't listen to the first episode, shame on you. Go back and watch the first episode, or listen. I don't know.
Listen.
This is an audio format. But,
yes. Fizban the Fizzman.
Yeah, Fizbin the Fizzman. My cat Fizbin has entered the studio space, and I think he wants some pumpkin bread. But we're not going to give it to him because we're not sure if he can have pumpkin. If you know that if cats can eat pumpkin related items, let us know in the comments.
I would look it up, but my phone does not want to connect to any internet. So,
yeah, but I like the pumpkin bread.
Oh yeah, good. I
think that's enough for the snack section.
You like the spicing though? It's not too spiced, not underspiced.
Nope, it's pretty good.
Cinnamon, nutmeg. You taste the clove.
I don't taste the nutmeg.
No nutmeg, really?
There's some cinnamony note to it, but I don't really taste the nutmeg.
I feel like cinnamon and clove is the big thing, but.
I'll be on it. Whoops! I just rattled the table. Sorry, folks.
Whoa.
I feel like cinnamon and nutmeg are a little too close in flavor profile for me.
That's fair.
They're too similar a spice
I mean, depending on how you use them. Mm-hmm. Like with all things. I mean, certain flavors do meld especially well together. But I feel you.
I'm going to finish up this bite of pumpkin bread.
Oh, he's speaking with his mouth full. How rude. How inconsiderate.
I'm going to finish up this bite. I'm swallowing.
Mm-hmm.
I am now taking a sip of my coffee, my inspiration coffee.
Oh, yes. You feeling inspired now?
I'm feeling inspired to move on to the next section of the show.
All right. And what is our next section of the show, my
Random
dear sir?
topic of the day, Jack. Random topic. So, again, we have 50 topics on the board, minus one, because
we're at 49 now.
We got 49 now.
Yeah.
Count them, guys. 49 topics.
49? Count them. 49 topics. Would you like
Which
to
means
do
in 49, well, actually 48 episodes after this, we're going to be out of topics. And that means that the show's going to be over forever.
That'll be a sad day.
Yeah.
It's not even a full year. I'm sad.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, Jack. Nah, we're going to take suggestions at some point, probably before we run out of topics.
Hopefully in a couple weeks or something like that. We'll see how things go.
I got a random number generator here.
Do keep it up 1 through 50, though. Don't subtract too much.
Of course.
I've already crossed out our last week's topic, so if you want to roll a number and give it to me.
All right.
I will.
Generating a number. 21.
21.
What's 9 plus 10? 21.
Scheduling conflicts.
Fuck.
Ain't they a bitch?
How do we deal with scheduling conflicts in D&D?
Well, you and I have had a rough go of this over the last year, I feel like. During the pandemic, it was fine.
Yeah, we were a little more consistent during the middle of COVID because...
nobody was doing shit.
Yeah, nobody was doing anything. People didn't have jobs anymore. Or at least those that weren't in certain industries didn't have jobs anymore.
People had time.
Yeah. Or people were going to school, but they weren't going to school as often because, scheduling changes because
the
of
ability
everything.
to do things online really gave people a lot of freedom to do other things.
Good
For
old
us, D&D was one of them.
Good old Discord was a lifesaver.
Yes. Discord and Roll20.
Yeah. Yeah, but, scheduling was easier when people didn't have things to do. And now, pandemic's kind of over. People have gotten back into jobs and school a little more regularly.
Yeah.
I finished up school in the middle of the pandemic. And, that was a lot easier to schedule stuff around because I didn't have a commute time between my apartment and my classes because I was at home. And I could just shut off my laptop and then stare into the abyss and be like, now what do I do? But that's a pretty dark way of putting it, but enough about that. Scheduling conflicts have always been a plague upon D&D. Not just us. We have our own examples.
It is the problem that I think is most universal throughout all campaigns. Just finding time, especially with a group of adult players. People that are not, just grouped up, in high school or whatever grade you may be in.
Yeah.
When you have an abundance of free time.
To our teenage listeners, enjoy your free time while you have it. I work a 9-to-5 job every goddamn day. Not every day.
Enjoy your youth, because as soon as it is gone, you will wish you still had it.
Yeah.
With age comes freedom and a whole new set of shackles.
So use your free time to play D&D all the time. That's what we suggest.
Cram as much of it into your schedule as you possibly can. Enjoy it while it is there, because one day it will be gone and you will be a sad wreck because of it. Coming from someone that has happened to, I speak with some experience. I'm so sad.
Everybody's depressed in this day and age, Jack. Actually, that's not true. If you are experiencing clinical depression, go to a doctor. But
we are not licensed medical professionals. Please do not take any serious medical advice from myself, from Austin, from any other wackos on the internet. Go consult your doctor. Scheduling conflicts.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to speak from experience on my own campaign, because I've had a campaign setting for, I think, since when I was in the middle of college. I started this. I think it was in my
3 years now.
3 years of my particular campaign setting, and what happens regularly is we can't seem to play for more than a few weeks at a time before we take a full month off, because something comes up or there's just scheduling. I feel like it's just the curse of my campaign in particular, where it's just like, it's not necessarily, it's just, granted, my issue was always the fact that my campaign was scheduled on a weekday on Tuesdays.
That does change the dynamic a little bit.
It was, middle of the week, end of the day on Tuesday, when people had time after work maybe, but people were coming off of closing shifts or something like that, or they had to work the next morning, and that in itself was just hard to schedule around. But when it first started, Tuesday was open for a lot of people because we either weren't working those particular days, had less demanding jobs, or we just didn't have classes at that time for those of us that were in school, our friends that were in school. But it seems to just persist, this constant thing of we do a month or so of playing before we take a month break.
So let me ask you, that being the current predicament that is, as you would say, plaguing your campaign, how do you go about dealing with that sort of emotional letdown of not having the sessions that you expected to be having at the frequency that you expected to be having?
I try not to let it get to me most of the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it always is. I think any DM or player can really, especially because this is not just a thing that DMs go through. It's a thing that players go through too.
Yes, it affects everybody.
It affects everybody, and because I don't know, for some players, D&D is the escape from regular life for a little while, and they get excited to play, and then a scheduling conflict may come up, and they just I don't get to play this week or whatever because too many people have dropped out of this week's game, or and that's another thing too, is we had the luxury of getting to play pretty much every week for our regular campaign that you were running. Not every campaign has that regular weekly schedule. Sometimes they only do once a month, and usually
it is a luxury.
That is another thing we should discuss, is how should you schedule your campaigns, because there's fixes to scheduling conflicts, mm-hmm. and having the regular weekly thing, I think, is unrealistic for some people.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have been very privileged and have been very thankful to have, for most of it, a pretty regular and consistent schedule for mine. And things have wavered a little bit over the last few months as we've been trying to wrap it up for my Saturday campaign, but I feel like up until then we've been incredibly lucky, and I have been incredibly fortunate to have people that have been able to make almost weekly sessions.
And also in some cases people make sacrifices for that too.
Indeed.
And here's the thing that I think everybody needs to keep in mind when scheduling conflicts come up. People have lives, especially when you're in your 20s and 30s, the majority of our group. You got work, you got doctor's appointments, you got
you got special
school.
Others you gotta go see.
Yeah, you got significant others sometimes, and
sometimes you can't be late for that Thicc appointment, okay? I'm speaking it like it is.
All right, yeah.
Believe me, there's people out there thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So sometimes there's that stuff. So you kind of take it as a grain of salt when somebody says oh, I can't come tonight or whatever. And not every scheduling conflict means cancel D&D. Sometimes it's maybe one person can't attend, and
you get the cardboard cutout.
You get the cardboard kit. That's a common thing we did in our campaigns. It was one person couldn't attend. It's a little harder to do in my campaign setting because
with a smaller group.
Because we have a smaller group for that one. So it's so it's only 4 people, 4 regular people. Hopefully a 5th person is coming back that took a hiatus from D&D for a while.
It also does depend on if the people playing are okay with that.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, you don't just want to be oh, well, you're not here, so we're going anyways.
Yeah. Unless that's why we did the we were trying so hard with your campaign to like we wanted everybody to be there because it was like it's wrapping up. This is it. It's this is for all the marbles.
Yes, for some context, my Saturday campaign player count has fluctuated from 4 to 7 to 10 to 9, and now we're back down to 6.
6, and then we had one person playing 2 characters at once.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted,
I mean, it was the final showdown.
We're not going to spoil anything, but such a sad ending for one of those characters that they played.
I mean, bittersweet, I would say, versus sad.
Bittersweet.
But the larger the group, the more, again, the more points of failure there are.
Yeah. The larger the group, it's both good and bad. The larger the group, the harder it is to manage. But also,
so many schedules to conflict with one another.
Yeah, so many schedules that can conflict. But on the other hand, if like only 1 or 2 people are like, oh, I can't come, like you can still resuscitate the party for that week.
Yeah, I mean, if people are okay with being cardboard cutouts, you can definitely keep the party going.
Yeah.
You know? Or for some campaigns, I know that they're
and this is the thing.
Sure, go ahead.
Consent is key with this. If people are okay with missing out because of their schedule or whatever, and they're like, go ahead and play without me this week, then you got the green light. If somebody says, well, I really wanted to be there this week, I really wanted to, like, just realize that, like, that's, don't exclude them. I mean, it's a fine line you have to walk, I guess, because it's like, I know some people will view that as like, oh, well, one person's wants are overriding the rest of the group. But I mean, it depends on the context of that situation, I guess, because if it's like the player that has like a major story beat or something.
Mm-hmm. Totally get that. I mean, I also feel like that's something that is something that you should discuss and agree upon when you're starting a campaign for your session 0. It's like, in the event that one person of this 5-man group is unavailable, would you be all right as a group with having a cardboard cutout, or would you prefer to go on a side adventure with only the 4 people that are available? Or do you want to just hold off, wait till we can find everybody to congregate together again, and then proceed?
It's not just black and white. It's like an A, B, C, D option.
You find
list.
the group that's you find the solution that's best for the group. I think the harder thing to deal with is when it's not necessarily a major scheduling conflict so much as it is, scheduling conflict where, so-and-so can only do Sundays, so-and-so can only do Mondays. It's when there are last-minute cancellations that throw a wrench into the machine.
I think
that happen frequently or regularly. That's when it becomes a problem that I feel like at some point has to be addressed.
Yeah, that is a big thing, and you'll find this on every D&D thing on Twitter or Reddit or basically anywhere on the internet that's going to discuss D&D. Is just like communication is key.
Oh yes.
To this entire game, the entire game is us having a mass hallucination together. So, I mean, we're not on drugs.
No,
unless that's your thing. If you play D&D on drugs, let us know in the comments.
I salute you.
Yeah.
Your concentration is impressive.
Yeah. But the entire thing is about communicating and talking to one another. The game itself and setting up the game. Because you should always communicate with the people you're playing with about when you're free and what to do if you're not free. And that's the big thing with last minute cancellation. If it's something drastic, completely unpredictable, it's excusable. If it's a situation where it's you got into a car crash and you can't make it to
that's
D&D,
a no-brainer.
That's that's not your fault.
It's why are you calling me? Go to the hospital.
I'm not going to make it to D&D tonight. Are you okay? No, my leg's broken. Get off the phone and get in a fucking ambulance.
Thankfully, we have not been played with anything like that before. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
But if it's something that you knew for weeks to months in advance and you just didn't communicate that to the group, then it's a little
That's a little inconsiderate.
That's salt in the wound.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if it's like just a matter of like you don't know how to communicate it to the party, or if it's like private business or whatever, is you don't have to get super detailed about it. If you just say in advance, like, hey, I'm not gonna be here this week or on this particular day or whatever, and I might not be available for a while, you don't have to get into like super specifics, because your life is your life and you have a right to privacy. And if your DM can't accept that in particular, just get a new DM.
I mean, like you were saying, it's all about communication. And if that's not there, then, if somebody doesn't feel comfortable enough to come forward with something like that, that's a sign of a deeper problem.
Yeah.
I feel like. And you kind of got to take a step back and do a retrospective on group dynamics as a whole. But for the things that cause problems, that push the sessions back, that interrupt the storyline, I feel like those are things that can be really disheartening for players and DMs alike, because you're all there just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
This is not something that, I mean, some people make this their life and their livelihood. But this is people just all trying to get together and have fun. It's not supposed to be, a quest for the Holy Grail, a quest for spiritual and enlightenment. It's not some great Herculean task. It's supposed to be about having fun. Telling a story with your friend.
We just want to get together and roll a bunch of dice.
Yeah.
And just talk with each other.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about this particular topic. You got anything else to say?
I had something I was gonna say, something along the lines of just, it sucks when it happens. It's great when it doesn't. Enjoy the times when you can play.
Yeah. Make it last.
Yes, make it last.
And you know what? If you another thing, and this is the last thing. Another thing is burnout.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because like sometimes people just get burnt out. Make sure you communicate that as well, because like if you're feeling burnt out and like you need a break from D&D to do whatever, just to get a little bit of extra spice in your life somewhere. That might be the wrong phrase to use, but
get some pumpkin spice in your life today.
Good Lord. Okay.
Sorry, this isn't an ad spot, but it sounded like one for a moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Just communicate that. And if you need a break, that's another thing. It's not necessarily a scheduling conflict thing, but it's just like, if you need a break, communicate that.
Communication.
Yeah. Don't leave people high and dry.
Don't bottle it up.
Well, that's all I have to say. Let's revisit the coffee thing. Jack, did you finish your coffee?
My mug is empty. Wait, hold on. Okay, I had one little droplet, but now it is empty.
Mine is empty. I actually ran out in the middle of like eating pumpkin bread, and then I had like dry mouth for a second because I was like, I just ate like cake, and now I need something to wash it down. Yeah.
So good though, huh?
It was good.
Inspiration by foundfamiliar.com. You have a good blend. I quite enjoy this. Austin quite enjoys it seems.
Yeah. It beats Folgers.
That is like the most mid-endorsement that I have heard. It beats Folgers.
It beats Folgers. Yeah.
It beats Folgers. Okay.
I don't know.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah, that is a way of putting it.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I got. If that's all you got, then I guess we can sign off for this episode.
I guess, if for those of you listening out there, let us know what you thought about, the Pit Fiend. Do you like this monster? Have you ever faced one? Have you been TPK'd by a Pit Fiend?
A Pit Fiend?
Wow. It's because I'm thinking about Pete's Coffee.
I was thinking Pete Davidson for a second.
Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson with a pair of wings.
Oh, God, no. That's, frightening.
Imagine that coming out to beat the fuck out of your party. God damn.
I would rather face the Pit Fiend. I'm just kidding. But let us know what you think of the Pit Fiend. Would you like to see one in your campaign? Have you fought one? Have you survived? Have you died to one? Mm-hmm. And let us know if you have any good tips and tricks for dealing with scheduling conflicts, or any advice you would like to share with anybody out there that's dealing with this sort of an issue in their own campaigns. Obviously, we only have ourselves to bounce off of, but for those of you listening, if you have any wisdom to share, that is always welcomed.
Yep. And if you guys want a little preview of next episode, because it is the Halloween season, we're just going to talk about some classic monsters to run for a Halloween spooky, creepy session.
Yes,
some
spooky.
of the, think the Universal movie Monsters. Like those classic horror movie kind of monsters, and where they can fit, and whether or not we would use them ourselves.
Shall I tell them?
Tell them what?
Give them a hint about the monster of the day for next week.
But it's going to be multiple monsters.
I know, it's a special.
Yeah.
Shall I clue them in, or shall we leave it a surprise?
I think we're just going to have to leave it a surprise.
A surprise? Well, I mean, we did give them a little hint earlier. If you were paying attention, you might have caught it. But we'll leave the big reveal for next time. I think.
We'll leave it at that. All right, guys, we'll see you when we see you.
We'll see you when we see you. Right. Stay caffeinated.
Good Lord.